You are now entering Maximum Driftcast, the only drifting podcast hosted by a Spanish soccer mom, a 30-year-old silver-haired fox going on 60, and finally, a 200-pound bowl of spaghetti with chimichanga arms.
The champions, we are the champions.
And we're back. Holy guacamole, boys.
As they all say, it's been
It's been a while.
It's been 1 week since I liked it.
It's been like 3 weeks since you've looked at us. We had to fight some crime, save Santa Claus,
beat off some reindeer.
Oh, Jesus.
Not actually, beat them up.
Yeah, okay, so you say that the reindeer were attacking, and then, let's move on.
Eat some turkey hot dogs.
Yep. I heard that you had a hot dogkin, which is actually just it's not like a turducken, it's just a turkey stuffed with hot dogs.
Mm-hmm. It was delicious. Delicious and nutritious.
Hot dogkin.
Yep.
Man, I'm telling you.
Covered in yogurt sauce.
I'll be honest with you guys, or honest to our viewers, I haven't seen you guys since the last
we actually haven't
episode.
seen each other. We needed a break. I think we need a break after, it got kind of weird after the last episode with, we did some bath salts. We kissed each other a lot on the hands only, but still we needed some cool down
space, some closure.
Definitely needed time away from the whole podcasting thing.
But not you guys. But
no.
But we're back. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe on iTunes and tell your friends and rate the episode, because that does help us get that out of the way at the front of the episode here. Please make it so we keep going. But Corey,
it's been quite a week, couple weeks actually, and took some time off. We actually mildly restructured the whole Maximum Driftcast to make it more easier to manage.
You just heard that beautiful new intro from Jared the Manda Panda.
Yep,
the Anda.
That was pretty. It sounds very professional.
Yeah, well, he's got chimichanga
arms, 200-pound bowl spaghetti,
Spaniard soccer mom,
female soccer mom.
So thanks, Jared.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. And we also have we have a bunch of interesting fun news.
Was that completely off Jared's head, or like
no? We vibed a bit. He was actually driving around in his car recording with me, but it was odd. But thanks, bud.
So going back to kind of restructuring the Maximum Driftcast team, going into new year, new opportunities, new shows, new everything. During the time off, you wouldn't believe we actually got a lot of stuff accomplished. One of the new things is we created an alliance. Not a drift alliance, but we created an alliance with a company. Of drifting. Mm-hmm. AM Intakes is now being a big supporter of the Maximum Driftcast team. And this is going to allow for a lot of cool things, not only for us being able to hopefully go to more rounds of Formula Drift and other drifting organizations across the United States, but we're going to do some monthly giveaways.
Yeah, so I think we're going to start with this episode. We're going to be giving away a signed filter every month.
Some hats as well.
No, I mean...
Nope, no hats. We're saving those are limited edition.
We're going to be giving away a signed filter to someone that shares an episode every month. So I'm not sure if it's going to be the specific episode. I think it's that shares any of our episodes for that month.
Yep.
Because we got 12 of these suckers, and we're going to... I think the first few are just going to be given away signed by us.
Yep.
If you actually want a filter signed by us, you can put on your car. You can put on your vacuum.
Just to mention, it's politically correct to call these things suckers, because that's what they do.
Suckers. Okay. All right. So put this little sucker right here. So yeah, the rundown is, and we're going to tell you when we share the episode with you guys as well. But I think the rundown is going to more or less be share the episode, share the video portion, share the
post,
share the post, the audio portion, all of it.
Yeah.
And at the end of every month, we are going to randomly select someone that has shared it. And I think
automatically entered to win.
Are we gonna give people more quote unquote raffle tickets if they share every episode? So if they share 4 of them, is that 4 more chances to win?
I would say that would be a good opportunity.
Yes. So, yeah.
And also,
the more you share, the more you win.
we will be giving away the first one with the Maximum Driftcast team sponsorship. Then we're going to have a Chris Forsberg edition, Matt Field edition. We have a few other drivers that are going to be kind of stacking up over the year to be able to win a new AM
So sign shit.
intake.
Sign cool shit. You can put it on your wall, put it on your car, put it on your hands, and act like a robot like Paco does.
Yep. Another cool thing, over the holidays, we were jokingly going over accepting gifts.
Oh, Jesus.
From some of our viewers, and we've received a few things in the mail.
Well, they wanted to send us stuff to review.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Yeah, so we reviewed the jump pack a little bit ago, and we honestly want to review everything. We want Danny George to send us a bunch of crabs, so that'll be that. He still has to do that. But in the meantime, one of our fans sent us a box we have not
Who
opened.
sent this?
Russell Johnson.
Russell Johnson sent us a box, and
everything is going to be opened for you guys listening on the audio. You can go over to the YouTube section on Drift Idiot.
Which I'm a little bit afraid right now of the potential.
I was going to say, if it's something like very bad, we can just gonna pixelate this area.
Yeah. Do you have a cutting tool?
So real quick, guys, let me explain this one more time. So if you want to see it on YouTube, we have not opened this package yet. I just want to remind that. So anything that we open is going to be opened first time on air. We have absolutely no idea what's in these boxes.
Please don't send a bomb.
And so the first package is from who? Russell Johnson?
Russell Johnson.
From Texas. So go ahead, Paco, do the honors. Let's see what it is.
Play some Texan music, Corey.
Ding 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 ding. Paco's using a key to open up the box with his hands.
I don't think Paco's allowed to own a knife.
Paco's not allowed to own a knife. All right, here we go. And I'm telling you, this box, how much do you think this box weighs before you open it?
It's very heavy.
Like 20 pounds?
20 pounds. It's probably a foot by 5 inches tall.
Here we go.
Okay, Paco, move your strong bone.
You guys ready?
Take a little more time. Hold on, there's a note at the top.
Okay.
Right, before we look.
Oh, Lord. All right. Read it. Go ahead, Paco.
Formula Driftcast. Please
Speak up, Paco. No one can hear you.
Please enjoy this tasting menu of the finest spaghettis available to the man for your review on the next podcast. Love, Russell in Houston.
Okay. On to Scribbles.
Cross them out, okay.
Is also known as RJ Scribbles on Twitter, Instagram, and Snap.
I don't use IG
I don't
much.
use Instagram much.
P.S. Hot dogs or legs? That's a great
Which one
question.
is it? Finally, can you answer that question?
No, I got to do some more research on it.
He said there's spaghettis.
All right. Whoa.
All right, so.
All right. Let's see. We got some quick microwavable
God.
Hormel. Complete
This
spaghetti.
guy just sent us a box of
But you know the
canned
thing
spaghetti.
is, look at the packaging. It's all flat. So the packaging did not.
Well, I think the cans killed it. So we've just got tons of. Pull out some of those cans. So
It's been a while.
Let's make this quick here. Let's see what we
for
got.
like 6 weeks
All
already.
right. We got some great value spaghetti, pasta rings, and meatballs. Awesome.
We have
Oh, Jesus.
Signature Kitchen.
God, what the heck is this? Annie's Homegrown Organic All-Stars?
Campbell's,
Jesus.
SpaghettiOs.
All right, so Russell, next episode, I guess this is as good of a time to announce it as
Spaghetti
any.
and Frank's.
Next episode, we're going to be doing our 1-year anniversary fan appreciation episode. So we're going to tell you online how to get involved. Shut up, Paco.
I'm overwhelmed.
I know. Hold on. We got to tell people how to call in now. So next week we're going to be doing. I think we're not going to actually have any famous guests because who needs them? But we are going to have you guys. So if you, we're not sure how we're going to structure it yet. But anyways, the idea is that we're going to be calling you guys. You leave your phone number with us in a private place, and if you have a question or want to be on the show for a minute or two, the more people, the better, I think. And you just get to be fun, silly, be a jerk, be a friend, ask us a completely real and legitimate question about drifting. We don't care, but it's about you guys. And we're going to give you some more information about that coming up as that show approaches. And then finally, before we get rolling with our guest, assuming someone wants to call the show, we don't know if someone's going to or not. We never do.
Yeah, you guys have any New Year's resolutions?
No.
Nope.
Nope. All right, well, that was quick.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
Quick
pretty
segment.
That was a 20-second segment starring Paco.
Well, actually, Santa Claus stopped by the house,
Oh, wow.
and it's something for Samuel.
Oh, Jesus.
Let's see what it is.
Let's see if you get it.
I'm like, oh, that's pretty sweet.
What is it?
Paco
What
just gave me a Christmas present on air. It's. I don't want to be a nerd, but it's a fucking cool shirt. It's the Swordfish 2. I think that's the name of
yes,
it.
sir.
I'm that nerdy. From Cowboy Bebop. A good show. That's sweet, Paco. Thank you.
Oh,
You
you're
guys should
welcome.
kiss.
I will.
Well,
That's what got us in this mess in the
later
first
when the
place.
cameras are not rolling. This one's for Corey.
All right, let's see here. It's gray already. I like that.
You weren't here the last time.
Nope. And I got a T-shirt. It looks like it's a small.
No, it's extra large.
Woo! Outfit
Let's
just
hope it is
right.
extra small.
It's extra medium.
And this is from Sumo Fish. It looks like a tofu drift shopping cart. Awesome, Paco.
That's
Thank
very
you.
nice of you, man.
That's-
well,
that's
now
sweet.
That's
do you know how big of a jerk? Hold on, let me find something to give Paco.
Fuck. We have this baseball I found.
Give him the baseball.
Oh, here, Paco. So me and Sam,
We got
we've
together.
been sitting together actually for a couple months, and we've been contemplating what to give you, and we found a baseball.
And the zip ties.
Oh, nice.
it says "I believe," and
dude.
it has a Bigfoot on it.
So the baseball is actually a funny story in that that literally is there was the same situation. It was Christmas time, and we had gotten my friend AJ a gift, and he was like, real quick, I'll be right back. I got to get this gift from my car. And apparently he got that at a rest stop in like some strange small town just for no reason, just because he thought it was this funny thing, and it's been sitting in his car for a year, and he comes inside and gives it to my girlfriend Stephanie. He's like, here,
Oh,
Merry
nice.
Christmas.
That's
So,
nice.
I'm going to be able to practice my curveball now.
Happy birthday. I mean, happy
Feliz
Happy
Navidad.
Feliz Navidad.
Feliz
All right.
Navidad.
Moving right along. Thank you, Paco. That was nice of you.
Yep.
We have one more. Okay, one more little thing before our guest doesn't call in. We, after popular demand from you guys, we have decided to start up a Patreon. And Patreon, for those that don't know, is a website that allows allows entities to provide levels and tiers of cool rewards and gifts for you guys if you guys want to support the show at all. So these are still under we're working on them, at least at the point of recording the show. Hopefully it'll be out on Tuesday when you listen to the show. But essentially, if you want to give us $1 for an episode, we'd love that. Thank you so much. It helps. It helps make these episodes better. And
Now, there's different pledge.
yeah, so $1 an
tiers.
episode, we appreciate anything. I think for $2, we're going to send you some stickers.
Yep.
For $3, we're going to send you a swag pack, and that's where the hats come in, Paco. You jumped the gun.
My bad.
Yeah, but then we're going to sign some AM hats for y'all, and you get the stickers. And then I think for $5, we decided, very special, and these are all limited quantities, by the way. I don't want to sound like a salesman person, but we don't want to make too many of these things. We want to make an exclusive. We're going to give you a spaghetti mug, a
Yep.
Maximum Driftcast official spaghetti mug.
Coffee cup / pasta bowl.
It's a spaghetti mug.
Yep. Yep.
And all these support tiers, they just we'll also throw your name on the show in the video version, and we'll personally thank you if you're one of the higher tiers. But you will have a link to our Patreon. Feel free to go there. Feel free to not go there. We don't give a shit. We've been doing this show for free the entire time, and we are just still going to do that for as long as it takes because we just like doing the show.
Yep.
But we appreciate you guys for sure. Now let's move on to I think this is the singing portion of the
Yep.
show, right?
Well, one other thing before we get into singing real quick, to mention the Patreon and things like that, one thing that we've decided to do, 2017 New Year, we want to try to be more present publicly at certain events. And we've already mentioned...
Corey, I've been going to every FD. Where have you been?
I've been, me too.
Where have you been? Paco has been at a handful this year.
He's
been at
more
everyone.
than me. But we do have some announcements coming up that we are going to be part of the Grid Life again with Chris Stewart and the whole gang out there. We will be at some of the Formula Drift rounds as well as a few other dates that we're adding on the schedule. But everything that
And some
comes
more fun
through-
things are in the works
Yep.
too.
So everything that comes through this Patreon or the other support outlets that we have, this is just allowing us to get out there and do it more.
Yeah,
So this
wanna
is
do
something
more.
we're doing for fun and be more involved with you guys.
Oh, yeah,
and if you want to invite us to your wedding
I was gonna
or
say
your birthday,
Sure. There's some goals on there. So like once we reach a couple $100 in this regard or whatever, we're gonna do fun things like apparently I'm gonna spend an entire episode not interrupting people. That's one of them. Paco might speak an entire episode in Spanish, and then we might also do cool stuff like a special bonus episode where we play Forza with you guys, or where we have a karaoke
full
show.
karaoke.
And
Oh,
geez.
God.
We get no phone calls.
Well, let's.
All right, shut up, everybody. Phone calls coming in.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, that's a warm welcome.
That's what do you who is this? We were just in the middle of talking about really self-promotional things.
Say that again?
Who are you and what do you do?
Well, I'm John Hoyenga. I'm one of the owners of Nameless Performance, and apparently we build cool shit and race cars.
Apparently, are you not sure if your shit's cool or not?
Well, I mean, we just build stuff that we think's pretty cool, and other people seem to think so as well.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I like that one El Camino with the double nitrous with the double VTEX you guys done.
It's sick,
That
right?
was pretty nuts. I couldn't believe it.
So what cars have you built?
Well, we came on board with Ryan a couple years ago.
Ryan
Did
Turk?
his FD thing. Yeah, Ryan Turk.
Yeah.
You know that kid.
I've
You-
heard of
you
her.
just
I've heard
Ryan.
of her.
You know Ryan. He's like name dropping. He's like, oh, I'm friends with Charlize. You know, maybe.
Arnold.
Yeah, so we did his car. We actually met him at SEMA 3 years ago because we had our rally car down there. We built the BRZ rally car a while ago.
Yeah.
Rear mount radiator, a bunch of other crazy stuff. That thing's actually one of the fastest 2-wheel drive cars on gravel. And also, it was the first BRZ to ever compete on gravel, which is pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
He saw that thing. We drove it to the Hard Rock Cafe through the streets of Las Vegas because rally cars have to be street legal.
Really?
True.
And yeah. So pulled that up, and he saw it, started talking to us. Was impressed with what he saw, and things escalated from there. We took on his program, did pretty good, and basically built his FRS. Not built it, but rebuilt it better than it ever had been. And he had the best seasons that he's had in recent history.
And I think how many people might know you, or at least the car that you've built, is by its signature anti-lag pop-ups. So obviously that came from the rally world, and Turk is the first one to, at least, or your car with Turk is the first, I think, FD car to have anti-lag. And Forsberg may call in and correct me, as he is known to do on these things. But I think you guys are the first FD car with anti-lag.
So
right?
we're the first FD car with proper anti-lag.
Here we are.
Briggs ran here we go. Here are the semantics. So Briggs ran anti-lag in his SR20 powered, I think it was an S13 or S14, I don't remember what it was, but that had conventional anti-lag, which is actually really hard on the engine. It's hard on the valves, it's hard on the head, it's hard on everything. The difference with our anti-lag, everybody has a hard on for anti-lag, right?
Hey, it's true.
Hey. So our system is basically the engine is idling when our system is active, and the only thing that's being used hard is the turbo. And even that isn't being used any harder than it would be when it's on engine, on boost. So our deal, it was originated back in the 80s with Audi and all those crazy Group B rally cars.
Yeah.
And not much has changed. Realistically from that first system, and we basically adapted it to these large turbos we use in FD and go from there. And what you get is the broken car sounds like cannon fire from across the track.
For those who are not very familiar with how the system works,
or first, give us the I think let's go into detail, but just at the most basic element.
I can't wait for that episode where you stop
Shut
interrupting
the fuck up,
sound.
Dude. Well, I just.
No, what I would say is for those who don't know how the system works and all that, most likely, what does the system actually? What's the advantage on drifting?
Well, people don't even know what the system is yet, so why don't you let them talk about that? Which is why I interrupted you, so people could learn what it is before we talk about its application in drifting.
Hey, now, kids, settle down, kids. All right. So the basics of the system are it's basically a wastegate. What we do is we put a wastegate in between the charge pipe, so the intercooler pipe, and the exhaust manifold. So picture, you know how most cars have a blow-off valve?
Yes,
all cool cars at least.
Makes the air... Yeah, all the Rice kids have that, right?
It's like a whistler that goes
what
woo
we do
and
woo. We take the air that would normally be just spit out into the atmosphere, and make that cool noise. We put that air back into the exhaust manifold. Then we add fuel from the engine and retard timing. So what actually comes out of the engine is raw fuel and air from the turbo intercooler system. Those mix, and then they combust on the... So combust means catch on fire. Okay.
Hey, we don't need it that simplified, bud.
Yep.
Come on.
Well, yeah. So when you just combine the retards and the atmosphere, that's what you get.
Oh boy.
Yeah, exactly. So it adds fuel and air, and what that does is combust on the turbine wheel, and that makes the turbine wheel spin, which makes boost, which then makes more air coming into the exhaust manifold. So it's a self-feeding system.
It's cool because
that maintains the turbo speed.
Turbochargers themselves are scavengers of waste energy, and this is just like a whole nother level of that scavenging of otherwise wasted energy. But of course, you're adding fuel to that fire, though.
It's
you're
conservation
combusting.
of motion.
Yeah,
it's conservation of motion at its finest in the automotive application.
Yeah.
We take all of the energy that the turbo is generating and basically spit it back into the turbo, add some fuel, and what we get is a turbo that can spin at the same RPM for an infinite amount of time, effectively, until it overheats.
Why for does it make the pop noises?
That the big cannon fire pop that you hear right when it lets off the throttle, that is the initial reaction starting. So once that big fireball hits, there's basically a self-sustained fire jet inside the manifold.
Wow.
And what's interesting about the other pops is those are actually the reaction restarting. So what that means is it wasn't 100% initiated, and all the extra pops are basically the reaction restarting and restarting and restarting.
Now, Paco, I believe you had a question about the application in Formula Drift.
Specifically for drifting, like what's the advantage?
I'm sorry.
So the advantage is, I mean, really, embarrassingly enough, we had someone break it down like this. We're trying to achieve a V8 power band with a 6-cylinder turbocharged engine. It's the bottom line. So what the anti-lag does is maintain boost all the time. So once you lift throttle, right, normally boost falls off and the turbo stops spinning, and you have to re-spool the turbo once you get on the gas. That's called turbo lag.
Ew.
And with the anti-lag, what happens is because the turbo is always spinning at the speed it needs to make the boost it needs, as soon as you get back on the gas, there's all that boost already there. So it makes the torque curve flatten out, basically, more like a V8 power band.
Nice.
And is this all electronically controlled?
Yes. Well, it's physical valves controlled electronically. Obviously, an engine can't be fully electronically controlled because it has to interact with the world somehow. But we have valves that are controlled by the ECU. Basically, they use the boost to actuate the valves that are told when to actuate by the ECU. So, in a sense, yes. Very complicated answer, no. But
Wow, well, you pretty much gave the secret recipe.
Yes, and everyone
can
go out and do this, except for it also is really cheap, I imagine, right?
Really cheap, yeah. I mean, you could make it with mild steel sewer pipe if you wanted to, but it only lasts about 5 minutes. So you could make it for really cheap if you know how to make it. Unfortunately, it's going to explode. So I would recommend not trying that at home.
So it is actually pretty expensive then?
It's pretty expensive. We're actually going to be releasing a retail version of it.
Oh, sweet.
Retail, I put quotes around.
Yeah.
For those customers who know what they appreciate what we do and they like what we do and they want it. It's not cheap, but I think the retail price point, including the ECU and everything, is going to be around $10,000,
right?
Which is pretty expensive. But when you consider that all the parts last for at least 2 whole seasons in FD, that's a pretty good testament to how good everything's built.
Now, I have a question.
Paco has a question.
Yeah, I have a question, and this is mostly for like all the V8 lovers out there. I mean, like coming from that point of view, like why doing your system instead of a V8? Because I know a lot of people will be like, well, you know, if you just put a V8, like blah blah blah, you don't have that problem.
Well, price is going to be 1 point, I imagine, because just the anti-lag is $10,000.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. So why doing?
Why not just go LS?
Why doing the analog instead of?
Because turbos are cool, man.
Let's
hear it from John.
It's really a spiritual debate, I suppose.
It's interesting.
V8s are cool,
ghosts?
but
we're getting deep here. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, to answer your question, like, yeah, I guess a V8 is cheaper. It doesn't sound as cool,
Right.
but realistically, to make a V8 do what our engines do is roughly the same cost. And if you want a V8 that makes a lot of power reliably, has the power band we want, and doesn't use nitrous continuously,
Yep.
it's about the same cost. I mean, if you look at it from a numbers by numbers standpoint, the high-strung turbo straight six or any kind of six-cylinder is roughly the same price to build as a ridiculous race motor that doesn't use a shitload of nitrous. Now, you could always just throw nitrous on an LS3, throw a 400 shot on it, some rods and whatever. The issue with that is now you have to fill up nitrous bottles every single run. You have the potential for nitrous failing mid-run, and you have issues with that. And the main benefit, in my opinion, of the anti-lag is it creates that power band of a nitrous-fed V8 with a system that requires no maintenance at the track.
But then you also added nitrous to Turk's car this year.
And that was only because our turbo couldn't make the top end we needed it to.
And does it keep the turbo cooler by chance?
Nitrous for safety.
Yeah.
The nitrous?
Yeah. Is it injected?
It's injected into just before the throttle body, so we have a fogger right before the throttle body on the nitrous.
Gotcha.
And, I mean, it does cool the air a bit, but we didn't really need any cooler air to begin with. Our intercooler arrangement is more than adequate for that.
I was actually, funny story, I was talking to Forsberg probably like 3-4 weeks ago, and I was like, man, a nitrous-fed V8 would be pretty cool. And he told me, he goes, no, not for you. And I'm like, well, why? He's like, for one, they're super high maintenance. You have to make sure they're chilled. Like, he keeps them on ice. He goes, you have to make sure it's constantly at the right pressures. And he goes, I know you, and you wouldn't do any of that, so I would try to stay away from all that. And I was like, makes sense. Okay.
Fair enough, man, sure.
And like, for me, in my mind, not being a nitrous expert by any means, and John can call me an idiot, but it's like, oh, you plug it in, and you turn it on, and you stand on the gas and go. It seems much more complicated than that.
Well, especially if you have like a multi-step delivery process and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you break it down, nitrous is really simple conceptually. Like, it is just like you said. Plug it in, plug a bottle in, push the gas pedal, and go. That's what it looks like from the outside. But on the back end, it's extremely complicated, and there are many, many ways it can go wrong. And like Chris said, it's high maintenance. It's something that you really need to be on top of. And our anti-lag stuff, you don't need to do really any maintenance at all. We turn the car on and go race, and make sure that has oil, and go race, and make sure it has tires, and then hit the wall a couple times, and you don't have to worry about the nitrous bottle.
Yep.
Well, I think the ultimate argument finisher here would be a V8 twin turbo with anti-lag, and everything cooled with nitrous just for safety.
John, what's your thoughts on that? Is that stupid?
That's not stupid, but now you're adding two turbos to a V8 that has nitrous. So you're adding complexity to an already complex V8.
Well, I'm just saying because like Corey right here has a twin turbo V8
that hasn't ran yet.
Could totally use the pop-pops.
I would just want it because I wanted to say John worked on it because John's a wizard. But yes, I would also like the pop.
Yeah, I'm just saying it because that's kind of like the ultimate thing, like, oh well, turbos versus V8. Like, no, this is V8. It is turbo. It makes pop-pops. I mean, what else you want?
Yep, that's true.
Yep. I mean, if you're looking for a definite answer, I can't give you that. But I mean, nitrous. It's like anything else in the car world. Like, you're going to find people that really love one thing, and people that really love another thing, and they don't like the other option. That's how it's going to be, and they both serve their purposes. All I can say is my personal experience. Yep. I don't like the maintenance that nitrous brings along with it.
True.
It presents way too many opportunities for us to miss something at the track.
Right.
If we forget to fill the bottle or change the bottle, or we put a full bottle in there, and then the car sits in the sun for an hour and a half on grid, and the bottle explodes. Like, oh, whoops.
Right. Or if you drink a couple beers in the pits before his next run, the guys end up taking a nap, and it's like, well, shit, I forgot to change the nitrous. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of.
Yeah, exactly. We forgot to fill our bottles up. Now we have 4 bottles that are empty, and we have to go scramble to fill them up.
So I got a couple technical questions for you. It's not really too technical, but I'm just more interested in kind of like for Turk's application they ran in the FRS. What turbo sizes did you guys run in that car?
We ran all sizes of turbos, man. We've been working with Garrett pretty closely this year to try and get a turbo figured out that kind of fills the gap between the 40 and the 45,
Okay.
or really the 35R and the 45R. They've come out with a few good options. The 3884 GTW was the one that we had the best experience with. That turbo actually is better than a 4088, smaller than a 4088, has more top end, better spool. It's better in every single way than the 4088. We're currently on a 42R, the 4294, actually. Sorry. This year we're going to try a 4202. We're trying to work with them to get us a hybrid of like a 3894 or a 3802. So we have the smaller turbine side with the bigger compressor. But I mean, realistically, for almost anyone out there, the 3884 is going to be the best turbo you could ever get. Like, that thing is amazing.
Now with all these, with all these adjustments,
sorry,
you're
we sorry.
Go ahead, John. No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you. Third time's the charm.
Rip headphone users.
No, so I was going to ask you, with all this tuning, what are you guys actually tuning for? Because you guys jumped around quite a bit in turbo sizes, but what is it that you're actually trying to tune?
We're trying to tune to a unicorn power band.
Ooh.
It doesn't exist in reality. So what we want is the flattest torque curve that comes in off idle and maintains all the way to redline, whatever power level we're at. So we don't really care about horsepower numbers. And in fact, when we dyno and we do our tuning stuff, we don't even pay attention to the numbers. The only reason we know what the number is because after we're done and we have a car that feels right and is running correctly, we do a dyno hit and we go, oh, hey, it makes that much power. So what we do is we look at the data, we get the torque curve where we want it, basically as flat as possible, coming in as soon as possible, and maintaining for as long as possible, up to redline if possible. So that's ideal. Usually what we get is something pretty close to that, coming in relatively hard, maintaining pretty well up to about 6,000, then starting to taper off. That was how the power band was with the GTW that I just talked about. The power band with this 42 actually holds all the way to redline. So I'm excited about that, and all we need to do is add some more boost and see what happens to see how much power we can actually pull out of the thing. But I think right now we're pretty much where we need to be as far as capabilities of the tire and all that. Because that's the other thing. Like, we can add all the power we want. We can do whatever we want with power, but in the end, we're limited to what the tires can do.
You guys are now at that point where you're running out of tire before the end of your second run if you put too much more.
We're out of tire halfway through the second run sometimes.
Yeah, I was going to say, with the amount of smoke that Turk puts down, I think Turk might be one of, or not, I don't know, him and Forrest obviously make huge amounts, but Turk is one of the smokiest dudes out there right now.
Yeah. I like to call it nuclear tire smoke.
Yeah. So
yeah, he goes out there and he turns it up, and he really, no matter what happens, is always going to go out there and make a crazy amount of tire smoke.
Yeah.
And it just is happenstance that we have enough tire left at the end of the run to make it through half the time.
Sure. Any other questions?
I mean, really, the cars at this point, all of the cars really in the field are at a point where you can add more power and more power, but everyone's going to be running out of tire now. Like,
right.
I don't even know where we're going to go until we start getting custom tires made that have more tread on them, or shorten the runs, but nobody wants that.
Yeah, or allow people to do a tire change halfway through the run, but then that, of course, takes time and changes the game in a more destructive way, some might say.
Yeah.
It brings back to the question.
But it's all...
Sorry, yeah?
I was going to say, it's all in the name of what's best for the show. And having two runs back-to-back is definitely better for the show. And in a way, I'm happy that we don't have to keep adding 200 or 300 horsepower every season, because it's unsustainable.
So yeah, that kind of brings back to the question we had on the show plenty of times, where, like, is there ever going to be a horsepower cap, or is mostly like that's where drivers are comfortable at saying, like, this is enough power so I don't destroy my tires in just one lap? So once you have like that number, let's make it 150 horsepower. You can work around that. You don't have to break through with I'm gonna try to make 1500 or let's try to make
There's no benefit of that.
Yeah, but once you have a safe number, I mean you can you can build an engine capable of doing 1,000 horsepower, tune it down to make it reliable 850, and you will have an engine for the entire season, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Depends. It depends. Yeah, I mean, it's the way that I don't know how I feel about an actual horsepower rule. I like the direction we are right now with basically the Wild West of rules in the power department.
Yeah,
it makes the teams. It makes all the teams kind of think about if what they have is enough, and all those teams that definitely have enough. It seems like they try to push a little more and then realize that they're at the limit power-wise and then move on to focusing elsewhere, right?
Yeah.
And it really makes that come back down to the team rather than the rule book. And the way a team manages that aspect of their program really reflects on the team, and I feel like it's better managed by teams, more interestingly managed at least by teams than it would be by a rule book. Because if a rule book just put an arbitrary power number down, like, oh, everyone needs to make 1,000 horsepower, for instance.
Yeah.
Like, what's going to happen to those teams that can't make that power but can still be competitive?
Yeah.
Or if you have a horsepower cap, you're going to have half the field at that power level. But then how do you prove that? Do we have a dyno on site? Like.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like not having a power cap, just like the teams themselves figure out like this is what we need. So yeah.
Okay. I like it that way. Now the problem that some people would say is the teams don't know how to do that. Half the teams out there don't know really how to run a car. Realistically, they put an engine in, they put tires on it, and they bolt on some parts and go racing, which is fine, but. I mean, it really, the way the rules are set now, it really allows the teams that have an understanding of how much power is adequate versus how much sounds cool or looks cool.
Yeah.
It really puts them head and shoulders above everybody else.
Because I'm happy about that.
Like two-tiered.
Yeah. I was going to say I'm happy about the Pro 2 rule about the tire width size because I think that then makes it so these teams can focus more on quality of build rather than something that will have enormous power on a certain either you're focused on the obviously the weight to power ratio and all that, but if you have to argue and have to find that Goldilocks number of tire to power, that's another aspect, and I think it's good, at least personally, for Pro 2 teams to be able to focus on just worrying about the power for the width of tires they are now allowed.
Yeah, I agree 100%. A lot of those teams don't have a quarter of the resources that teams like us have. And a rule like that is awesome because it gives them a finite target to hit. Once they hit that target, you can work in that range, and everybody has that limitation. And in that setting, that works excellent because those teams don't have the ability to really go out and have the time to go testing and figure out what works and what doesn't work. So they have a base starting line already that they can build from there, and it'll also help level the playing field so you don't have people like Helbrin came in Pro 2 that one year and just housed everybody with a BMW that was basically a Pro 1 car,
right?
And made everyone else look like dickheads.
Right. And the other thing too, to talk about tire consumption, in normal racing, John, like I don't know if it's rally or road racing and things like that, a driver's job is to conserve the tires maybe for later on in the race. So even if they're only running at 85, 90% the first half and the last 20 laps, right, turn it up to 100, it's the driver's job to kind of conserve and time the tire wear correctly.
Yeah.
And I think
that's a good part of FD.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's part of, not necessarily team orders, but it's something that the team can take into consideration. Hey, this lead run about 80 so we can maybe have a better chase since we'll have more tires. And I think that's one thing with this rule that allows the teams to kind of make a better call and maybe even tone it back on a run.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Along the lines of that, that's really interesting because one thing I noticed about some of the Pro 2 guys is they didn't really have that critical thinking ability as drivers to say, hey, I need to go X amount on this run because the driver I'm going against is good here and here, but I'm better in these other places, and I can let that shine on the second run if I don't go full retard on the first run. You know, and that
Never go full retard.
and that skill building this season is going to be really interesting to watch because it's something that most of the pro drivers really have a good understanding of, is when to push and when not to push and how to make that happen. Because a lot of Pro 2 guys know when they should push, but they don't know how to throttle it. Like, all they know is hit the gas pedal and go as hard as you can, you know? Yeah. 'Cause that's how they won their Pro-Am or whatever it was.
That's called JTPing around the track.
Corey, do you know when to push?
Sometimes. Yep, I'm still learning, but
are you a pusher?
Yep.
He's more of a push, pull, push, pull, push,
nap, pull
again type of guy. Well, I think you guys have any more questions about Turk's car and program?
Nope, I'm over it.
All right, John, thanks for talking to us. Have a good night.
Hey, what about Chris?
Have to bring him into this.
Wait, so...
Well, I have to. It's my job. I wouldn't be doing my job otherwise.
So that is some huge damn news. We'd hope to talk to you all year about Turk's
so much
car,
drama on the LBC.
So what makes you think you're good enough to build a car for three-time Formula Drift Championship winner Chris Forsberg?
Well, I don't think it matters what I think. I think it matters what he thinks.
Oh, there you go.
Hey.
All right.
I know we can. I know we can build a badass car.
Yep.
He thinks that we can build him a badass car, and that's what's really important to me, and that's really means a lot, that we've done the best we can, and that shines and shows enough for someone like Chris to approach us and ask us to take his program on. That really means a lot and shows that we've done something right. And I'm being a little bit sarcastic about that, but yeah, we do know what we're doing.
Of course.
We are fully confident in it. It's some big shoes to fill, and they did an excellent job with this program. And it'll be fun to take in some new directions this year. I mean, he's going to be on. I'm sure that the news has leaked out. It's pretty out there. So he's going to be running a VQ with fully built, some pretty crazy stuff going on the inside.
Yeah.
Twin turbo with twin anti-lag systems.
That was
and all
my question. That's exciting. I don't know if it's really been discussed about the anti-lag, but I assume that if John Hoyenga is building an FD car or any car, it's probably going to have anti-lag in it. So twin turbo VQ with twin anti-lag. What does that mean?
Twin, yeah. Yeah, well, there's two turbos now, so we have to have basically two systems.
It's going to be nuts.
Double the popping.
Hell yeah.
It's going to be popping off like crazy.
How developed are you in this program, this engine program?
Or how far along are you guys?
Yeah.
The engine program is actually pretty far along. We have our first test engine is actually coming back to the shop next week. We'll be putting that in the car, making sure all the stuff we built for it fits, getting all the wiring finished up, doing all of our preliminary testing, and then getting on the dyno with it in the very near future. And we'll have some videos and other cool stuff to show when that happens. And then we're hoping to be testing well ahead of the season, so we have some time to really get this thing sorted out and make sure Chris comes out with a car that's 100% and ready to come out swinging on day one in Long Beach.
So, John, have you had a chance to take a look at Chris's VK in that he had in the car the past couple of years? And then how would you compare the engine you're building compared to that? And what are the benefits?
VQ.
That's a very interesting question. So,
hey, high five, guys. God, I love it.
Nailed it.
The VK that he was running is a really unique thing. It's a project that Nissan was working on for the championship off-road racing trucks that they basically outlawed because it was making too much power and doing too good at what it was supposed to do. That the core rules guys said you can't do this anymore because you're too good, and basically outlawed it in the rule book.
Yeah.
And then they sat on a shelf for years. And
there's only like 5 of them ever made, right?
I think there was more than that. I don't know the exact number, but there were not very many. And they're custom block casting. They're basically the entire engine is custom. There is no. I mean, there are some actual VK parts on there, obviously, or it wouldn't be a VK. But there are so many custom parts on that thing. There's so many custom parts on it that it's not sustainable to continue running it. And Chris has done an excellent job. Chris and the guys over at MA have done, almost impossible feats keeping those things on the road as long as they did. Because there are no spare parts. You have to build everything for it, basically, or find something that's close enough to fit to modify to make it work.
Yeah. As you were saying that before,
there is no support from Nissan on them.
Before I rudely interrupted, Chris used his resources how to get these things?
No, he knew someone in Nissan and basically asked the right people for him at the right time. And I think they were getting ready to clear out the warehouse where they were sitting around in, and he got them basically given, not given to him, obviously, but he acquired them somehow through contacts at Nissan that it was an interesting story and one that will never happen again in the history of motorsport. It's one of those things where ruling basically outlawed an engine program that cost the manufacturer millions of dollars to develop.
Yeah.
Therefore, kicking that manufacturer out of a championship and obsoleting an entire development program. And Chris benefited from that, and it's done really well for him.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But because of all of that,
they lost. So their truck series, they lost the option for a championship with this motor. But then Chris went on to win 2 with this motor. Was his first one? Was that the?
I think it was all 3.
All 3 with VK?
No. His
I think it was all
first
3.
championship.
Yeah, it was all VK.
Damn.
Wasn't that a while ago?
Yeah.
When he
his
had,
first one was 2009, right?
Yeah, 2009. He was VK 2009, I believe.
So
Yeah, he's been running the VK for 10 years.
Oh,
Yep.
wow.
that's
Fun
exciting.
fact.
Well, hopefully, it's cool that Chris was able to give that motor some proper usage rather than just being left on a warehouse.
He can give it to me.
Yeah, no, I think he's already got some plans for it. I know his second chassis still has a VK in it.
Yeah.
I know it's some guy over in Australia, some suspension company called MCA. You might have heard of them. They have a Z that's powered by a VK also that is doing some pretty cool things over in the time attack and drifting world in Australia.
Oh, yeah.
Those MCA guys are the guys that make our rally suspension, by by the way. That might have been too complicated for you guys.
Humble brag.
So now that you had time to do some in-depth on the VK, how does it compare to the new package? Power-wise, performance-wise, the whole nine?
Reliability-wise.
We don't know that yet.
Those are all unknowns at this point.
Yeah.
We're in uncharted territory with this VQ. Like at this point, if the program goes as we expect it to, we'll have one of the highest, if not the highest, horsepower VQ in the world running in any competitive form of motorsport. So we're in uncharted territory in a lot of those places, but we're not in blind uncharted territory, if that makes sense. We know how to make engines work. We know how to make them reliable. We know how to make good power out of them. And the basic foundation of the VQ is alarmingly good, actually. It surprised me when I pulled one apart and saw how well they thought through the structural integrity components of the VQ. There's been a lot of bad experience with VQs in SD that I've seen, and
but they changed the design, right? They made it better recently, isn't it?
Yeah. So we run a special, still an OEM block, but we run a special block that's kind of hard to get. You have to know exactly what you're looking for to get it. That has some differences in the internal structure of it. So it's more similar to a VR motor. So with the GTR motor, it's more similar to that than it is to a normal VQ, the one that we run.
Got it.
I'm confident in it. I wouldn't be putting it in a Formula Drift Champions new car if I wasn't confident in it.
Yeah.
Do you have any projections on what you're looking to get out of it? I know it doesn't really matter to you guys number-wise. Yeah, power projections. What would you guys like to see in comparison to the 1J, 2J stuff you guys have done?
Well, it has to make at least as much power as Ryan, or Chris will be jealous. So we're shooting for 1,000 competitive, with a ceiling of a couple hundred higher than that if we need it, and an actual operational ceiling of even more than that.
Damn.
So not 1,500, but not 1,100. If that makes sense.
Being able to tune it and use it as required in a short amount of time. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, and that's as simple as pushing a button on the dashboard. So,
that's awesome.
So,
Yeah, that's the other neat thing about turbos and the way that we have everything set up is, you can jet with nitrous, but usually you have to do different jetting and all that to make different power. With a turbo, you just push a button and it changes the amount of boost it runs.
Right. So you're going to have a handful of profiles set up that he can say, oh, this run is going to be a 7 out of 10. This is an 8 out of 10. This run's an 11 out of 10. I really got to lay it down. I'm going home. And you can dial that in with a push of a button.
Yep, exactly. And we will have nitrous on Chris's car as well.
I was about to ask about that.
Flavor adder.
Twin turbo, twin anti-lag, 2 bottles of nitrous, or you can do the Sneaky Peters underneath the passenger seat?
We're just going to fill the roll cage with nitrous.
Nice.
I wish you would have said Sneaky Peter.
Wait, what's who did that? Isn't there a story of some pro racer that filled their roll cage with nitrous?
I want to.
No, it was filled with
I want to say it was
bearings.
Smokey Eunuch, but I'm not sure.
Nice.
All these R&D you guys are developing right now with Chris's car, is this also kind of like helping you guys shape a particular product for consumers, for like 350Cs, 370Cs are becoming very affordable. They're very popular.
Yeah.
So all of this is actually helping you guys develop a product, a kit,
A business around it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, obviously, all of this isn't just for fun. We have to make money off of it somehow, and racing doesn't go make anybody any money. So, our core business is actually exhaust manufacturing. So, we're a manufacturing company that does all of our work in the U.S. With parts made in the U.S. So, the main business reason for bringing Chris on board was to use this program to really push and develop our 370Z product line that'll be released about concurrent with Long Beach, assuming we can get the work done in time. So to answer your question, yeah, absolutely. We have the 370Z product line that's going to be coming out very soon. We're starting with exhaust and seeing how that works. If that's well received, then we'll do a bunch more on it. So It's just basically we're going to release a product line, see how that works, and see where it takes us from there.
Shameless plug. You can also check out Nameless and Chris on a show we shot, our Garage Tour show. And we hung out at Nameless. You can see the facility there. I think this was a year ago about?
Yeah, it was about a year ago. That was a Garage Tour show with Ryan and Chris.
Nice.
Got a really good tour of the shop.
Put the link in that video in the description for this.
Tell me what to do, Paco.
Yes, do it.
So a question that I had related to that, what you just brought up, is that obviously there's a lot of incentives to run a motor that is available to the consumer market, whereas, you're a VK. It's tough to sell VK parts to, I imagine, a wide range of tuners, but now that you guys are developing this VQ platform that, one, not only people can buy in the 370Z, but I imagine multi-layers of incentives to actually run the actual motor that started in the car.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only does it make it easier to build around, but it makes it more attractive for Nissan. They're happy that we're running a VQ. All the consumers are going to be like, "Hey, that's my engine. I can do that."
I just need
let's call up these guys over at Nameless and drop a check and make some cool shit happen.
Yeah,
that's the name of the game. That's why we do this.
So are you guys? It's a nerd question. Are you suspending or removing the valve timing from that motor? Does that get complicated with tuning all of the other aspects of the motor you have, or does that still maintain its profiles?
Nothing's complicated when John Reed and Motec are on board.
Hey.
Wow.
John Reed is your tuner, and he's the guy that does stuff remotely from wherever the hell he is. From space. And
from space. From anywhere in the world, he can tune a car, and it's amazing. He's the best tuner I've ever worked with. We're never worked with anybody else. He's done stuff that I didn't even know he could do. I'm one of the Drift Garage. That's the right name of the show. Yeah, Drift Garage.
Yeah, best show ever
for
made.
tuning that thing. Yeah, he was in a hotel in the middle of nowhere in North Carolina with the worst internet on earth. Nailed out a tune for us in a half an hour on the couch at the hotel while we were on the dyno over the internet, and did smoky burnouts and made 700 horsepower on a tune that was done from a really crappy hotel and horrible Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I think that's just one of the coolest aspects of the modern world we live in. But yeah, while we were filming that was just hilarious that you call him up and he's like, all right, I see the car, and then he's half a world away, and you guys are doing runs or pulls on the dyno, and he's He's changing the profile of the car remotely, and you guys in 1 hour get it from a not even starting. The car didn't even start up for the first half an hour, and then within a half an hour, you had at least a running, not a perfectly dialed, but you had a running, burning out tune, which is crazy.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost magic. It's amazing what can happen with technology and the right people.
Everything I don't understand is magic.
Yep.
That's what magic is, right? That's all it is.
So hey, John,
I don't understand.
Is there any like cool top secret stuff you didn't want to talk about that you do want to talk about now about the cars? Like anything you didn't like? I shouldn't tell them, but now I do.
Yep. Now that you trust us.
Well,
We earned your trust. We promise we're not going to tell
we're not
anybody.
going to tell. We won't say anything. We won't repeat it. I promise.
We won't say anything. All right, keep it between you and I. But we have 3 pro drivers on our team this year. Cameron Moore.
Oh, nice.
Cameron Moore came on board. We're building him a new FRS. That thing is going to be pretty awesome. I'm really excited to see this thing out on the track and killing some tires. It is probably the coolest car I've ever had a hand in building from the ground up.
Wow. How's Ryan going to feel?
Pretty excited about it. So come and check that out at Long Beach. Ryan's going to be pretty bummed when he sees it, actually.
Well, now Cameron Moore he wasn't on the team previously, but you did build his SC or whatever you want to call his car, the Lexus.
Hot dog wagon.
Yeah, so last year we helped him out with the anti-lag system, and we were the biggest contributor to his program, so we became the title sponsor that way.
Gotcha.
This year we're actually building a car for him and helping him run the car throughout the season. So we came aboard in a much bigger way. He's an excellent driver, has the potential to be up there with Ryan and Chris here in about 5 years.
Yeah. As long as this intercooler pipe
that
doesn't slip off, right?
That's why we're building him a new car.
Hey.
Hey.
So you have 3 drivers. I hope you have a lot of help because otherwise you're not getting any sleep.
Oh yeah, I sat down the other day with the team and we did like an outline of who does what on the team, and our team list of the names of people on the team just takes up an entire page. It's escalated quickly.
That's
it's ridiculous, and I don't even know how if they have hotels big enough for our team.
Hell yeah! Are you guys all going to be based out of Forsberg's NOS rig, or what's your transport plans?
We have Ryan and Chris out of Forsberg's rig, and we have Cameron and hopefully somebody else out of Cameron's rig. But we're not sure exactly what that arrangement's going to look like. I know that it's going to be on a separate truck, but I don't know who else is going to be on that truck.
Damn it.
We also have a Pro 2 guy that we're hoping is going to make a big splash next year, and we have a couple little kids coming up in Pro-Am as well. So,
I shouldn't run Pro 2 next year then.
What's that?
I shouldn't run Pro 2 this year then, is what you're saying.
Oh, you can if you want to get beat.
Okay. Okay.
Well, unless
I got to figure out how I just get you guys to work on it.
Unless you could be.
There you go.
I'm sure John's got a few more spaces in the Nameless garage to build a few more anti-lag cars.
I would do that in 2 seconds.
There's always space.
Well,
there's always. Yeah.
Is there any point
it's all a matter of who we want to push off the back burner.
Right. Well, Corey's obviously a huge asset because not only is he a skilled driver, but he has the following of the only Drift podcast to feature Corey Hosford.
Hey, that's a good sales point.
That's a minor like D-list celebrity right there. I'm on board.
John, I want your lip, dude. Quick nerd question. Don't go into too much depth with it. Obviously, you already have torque with a V8, but can you anti-lag a turbo V8, and is there a purpose?
If you had that much torque, the world would spin backwards.
So in other words, it's just not, you wouldn't get anything out of it, like, or do you just, does that just
no, you definitely can, and it really all depends on if you need that extra torque. That's the thing, is if you add enough torque, too much torque is a bad thing. Not enough torque is a bad thing. What you want is just enough torque. And if you're not getting it without any lag, then of course you can add it to a turbo V8. You can add any lag to anything with a turbo.
So I haven't even ran my car yet, John. But let me give you the specs on the engine. It's a Massed Motorsports 427 with twin GTX 3582s.
What are you saying?
Dang, money bags.
Hey, I'm ready trying to get that Nameless money.
Hey.
But is that worth doing anti-lag to, or is it just you won't know until you actually go
too much torque,
dyno it?
With the 35s,
yeah.
I would say it might help, but I don't know that you need the full crazy anti-lag that we have.
Just a little pop-up?
With that one, just a breath of conventional anti-lag might be enough to do that. That would be something you'll find out on the dyno. But just off the cuff, like with that motor in 35s, I don't see you needing it. Those are going to be snappy turbos on that motor, especially if you run E85 or some kind of race gas that's a E85 equivalent like we run with C85. That actually has more of an impact on the spool than almost anything else. You'll see a 300 to 500 RPM gain just in switching to E85.
Are you on regular gas
We'll
right
see.
now?
Well, I was thinking about running like a 110 or some sort of VP
Yeah.
field product.
Dude,
I never considered that.
All the nerds are doing 85 now.
Okay, well, somebody did ask this. What size injector would you suggest on a V8 running like an E85?
Huge.
How much power are you trying to make?
If I can be somewhere from a 900 to a 1200,
No, Corey, you have 245 tires. That's foolish.
255.
255 tires.
You're in Pro 2, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be way too much power for Pro 2. Come on.
Corey,
Dude, I just want to win the power war. I want to win something. If I won't win Pro 2, I want to win power.
You'll win the drag race for sure.
Is that
All right, well, something that big, I would go minimum 1800 cc. You could probably get away with the ID1, or not ID1000, but the ID1700X, I want to say is the name for it. They just released it. It's a new injector that through their partnership with Bosch. That injector is actually one of the better injectors on the market, if not the best injector on the market. And it's big enough to run E85, and it's compatible with every known race gas on Earth, so you'll never have an issue with them.
John is such a nerd.
what a car wizard nerd for sure.
Yeah, so my next question was how did you acquire all this knowledge? Like, what's your background? So a bunch of the kids that listen to the show, of course, are just wanting to figure out how to make money doing this thing they love. Where did you come from, and how'd you get here?
He's a graduate from AutoZone and UTI.
Well, he might be.
That's the funniest joke I've ever heard.
Hey, man, I was a camera store employee for years. That's like the equivalent of AutoZone to being on a bigger team or something. It's like, hey, man, I did my time behind the
Well,
counter.
hey, man, I worked at Jack in the Box for a long time, so, I mean, anybody can do anything. All you have to do is figure out how to do it.
Fun fact, I
Figure
had
out how
Jack
to
in the
get the
Box for
knowledge to
breakfast
do it.
this morning.
Yeah.
John, you learned all your knowledge working on the greasers of Jack in the Box.
Hell yeah.
John,
That's
that's a
right.
crazy
That's
story.
right.
Well, I think we've
That's
all
the
had.
secret to success, man.
I think we've all had cool jobs growing up. I
Yeah.
worked at the zoo. Sam.
Well, I was gonna say when Corey and I just both nodded at each other because let's do a quick segue question. Side question: have you ever been fired from a job?
Nope.
Oh, well,
Overachieving.
Never.
nerd.
Boring.
Nerd.
Boring.
All right, answer my fucking question, nerd. How did you get here?
All right, so I got here by dropping out of high school and
Oh, here you go.
doing what I wanted to do.
Good man.
You heard that, kids.
And so I'm not a very good example for how to get where you want to be because I went the hard way on every single aspect of what I did.
Yeah.
The best way to do it is to figure out what you want to do, what makes you happy, and then find the right people to give you the right knowledge or get the right knowledge to make your dreams happen. That's the best advice I can give to anybody. And there is no path on any of that. I came from Jack in the Box and worked at a wrecking yard, figured out how to tear cars apart at a wrecking yard. That's where I got my passion for cars, was at the wrecking yard, because I got to see every single make and model of car and take every single car apart and see how they work. You know, and from that's kind of how I got my understanding mechanically of how everything works in a car. From there, I went to work at a little auto shop down the road from my house, and then got into fabrication. I was into fabrication in high school, but really got into it when I got a job at ProTech building toolboxes. Moved on from there to work at ETS for a couple of years building intercoolers. And then after that, went to Karcher, did some welding at Karcher, got into engineering there, and got really a good understanding of production lines and how like manufacturing works from the nuts and bolts perspective, from the back end. Used all that knowledge to start this business with Jason, my business partner, and basically grew that from here with him, and here we are today.
Awesome.
That's the Cliff Notes version.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff in between there. What was your biggest moment there though, where you jumped from nothing to race car stardom?
From nothing to race car stardom.
I don't want to say nothing,
That
but you know,
was-
where was the biggest jump?
I would say the biggest. There's two of them. So there's two moments in my mind that stand out. The first one was buying an FRS new for the company. That was the first new car we bought for a development tool to get our product line off the ground for that car.
Yeah.
And then having this crazy Australian come across the sea, show up and rally in this crazy S13 Sylvia that they had built, two-wheel drive rally, show all the other all-wheel drive cars up, and then make the snap decision to build him an FRS rally car.
Yeah.
Made that happen.
Who's
that
this?
was the first gravel. That was Will Orders. He's look him up. He's a crazy Australian driver, one of the best rally drivers you'll ever see in your life. He's been driving since he was 12. He's pretty awesome. He's actually the guy that got us competitively into rally. I've been into rally forever, but he got us into the competition aspect of it. So his name's Will Orders. He's pretty awesome. Building that car really gave us a taste of what it takes to make a car and what can happen when done properly.
And that's when you started.
And when done properly, it's pretty exciting, you know. And the attention that we got from that, from being the first car on gravel and all that, made it apparent to us that race cars are a viable marketing opportunity.
As long as you have a back end for support for people to buy the
exactly.
product,
As long as the race cars are furthering a goal in the business, they make sense. The second you're doing racing just to go racing, you're not a profitable adventure.
Right.
The second big turning point, the turning point that made it from just knowing that it could be possible to actually making it possible, to go racing on a big scale and still make it profitable, was when we took the rally car out to SEMA in 2014, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Took it out there. The motorsports director for Subaru asked us to bring the car over to Hard Rock to show Bucky Lasek the car, because he was really enamored with it at that point and wanted to show it off. So I got to drive the car through Vegas, which was pretty cool, and then up to the valet at Hard Rock and park it in front of, like, we had a Bugatti moved out of the way so we could park our race car in the valet of the Hard Rock. That was a pretty cool feeling. And then having all of these, like, pretty much the movers and shakers of the motorsports industry congregating around this thing that we'd built and appreciating it and seeing it for what it was, that was really the moment for us where we're like, hey, this is really a thing. Like, if we get the right people on board and we get the right connections, we can really make something happen. And that's when we connected with Ryan and kind of blew up from there.
Hell yeah, man. All right, well, we are going to... You guys good with Instagram? You have any more questions on that? Cool. We're going to go into our fan questions here. And you want to get us kicked off here, Paco?
Sure. Should we start with a heavy hitter?
Let's just start. Get as heavy as you can, man.
Here's a question from Dookie Cookie.
Oh,
that's got to be like a Iron Dookie.
Whoa.
Iron Dookie.
That's a knockoff.
A knockoff. Dookie Cookie says, with the news of Ryan and Chris being on a team together, do you use boxers or boxer briefs?
hey.
Boxer briefs, man. You can't be dangling around when you gotta get
true.
up to get done.
I don't know
Yeah,
anyone
those
that
two
wears
guys.
baggy boxers anymore.
right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, once you've learned that, you know, we all we're tidy whitey kids, right? We had the tidy whities when we were like 5.
I had silk boxers at one point.
I had silk boxers at one point, which are the worst. I don't know who thought that was a good idea ever. It was just
It's only back in the
Silk
day.
boxers are a great thing at home.
no
Back in the
way.
day
Almost said
when
that.
the
They're pretty
offspring,
awesome at home.
the offspring was playing on the radio, you could use boxers.
The one thing
Yeah.
about silk
it.
boxers is the donkey always flies out the barn door.
Oh yeah, if you didn't have a button in the front, because I do remember, like, you know, at like a sleepover or something, and then it's like, oh, here's Uncle Dinger coming to town.
Oh yeah, flying out the
Yep.
So just heads up, kids, if you wear.
No, it's
silk
real
shirts.
awkward. It's real awkward at a sleepover when you sit down and you sit down like you have pants on, but you don't, and all your friends are looking at you like, "Whoa, dude!
Dude, your
Come on
twigs
now,
and
put your
berries are
clothes away."
pointing out.
And they're like,
Yeah.
Sam, you're,
That was a really good question. I didn't expect that.
yeah, okay.
Thanks, Dookie Cookie.
We've actually covered a lot of these, thankfully. That's always a good sign when we cover a lot of the questions.
So because like 65% of the questions are about
Anti-lag and
anti-lag.
Forsberg, yeah. Well, I think everyone wants to know Anti-Lag and Forsberg's car.
Just
What,
go with that.
So this is a rendition of A East 88. He says, will Forsberg have that sweet, sweet anti-lag sound in his V6? What are you expecting that to sound like on Chris's with with twin turbo, twin anti-lag.
Is it inappropriate to say it's going to sound like sex?
Nope. That's completely appropriate. Yeah, I can't
I'm
wait
going to
to
go
hear
with that one then.
I can't wait to hear that because the VK obviously, or VQ has a very unique engine sound in my opinion, and I have no idea what it's going to sound like with some.
I'm excited to hear the VQ with twins behind it. I know what twin turbo VQ sound like. I know what anti-lag single turbo sounds like. And I have no idea what twin turbo VQ anti-lag is going to sound like. It's going to be awesome. And the VK had a really nice exhaust note that was like barky and angry.
Yeah.
I feel like this is going to be a little more mellow with those like shouts of anti-lag in between the mellow exhaust note.
VQ engines are kind of particular for that like raspy kind of like annoying sound. I know a lot of people like they
love it.
Yeah, I love it, but it's just like like VQs. So I think you guys have something up, where you have the chance to make it sound amazing.
Well, I think you see the video. You saw the video this week of just Chris's twin turbo, his basic bitch twin turbo VQ. That car sounds great in my opinion.
It sounds pretty good.
I love it.
I think it changes. The exhaust changes a lot once it goes through the
once you have the
turbos.
restriction of the turbo and the exhaust, the note is not.
Turbos do a really good job of smoothing that exhaust note out. And any high compression V6 is going to sound really raspy and have that kind of grating note to it until you add turbos to it. Then it smooths out and sounds really good.
You got one,
Corey?
Well, I'm reading one and I'm really confused by it because I don't know if he's asking this question to be super technical or if he's. All right, so I'm going to read this as like I'm a super Gorkon nerd because this is how I'm reading it.
Nice.
And this is from CMJ Dev. Are you using CO2 to bypass valves or are you still on vacuum tanks? How do you decide on bypass diameter? Do you maintain boost with the bypass valve or timing? Are you putting the injectors in the turbine housing or still retarding the ignition for fuel? What type of ignition timing do you feel is most effective?
I feel like he's actually asking these questions for real, and now you're very rude for
that
him.
was a solid nerd voice. I congratulate you on that, sir. That was well done.
Well, the thing is, I read that and I have no idea what any of that means, so that's why I read it that way. But does that mean anything?
So I'll start at the beginning. Last year, we used CO2 to control the bypass valves in Ryan's car as a test. We saw an improvement, a significant improvement, actually, 10 times faster response from our valves. So we went from 200 millisecond response time to 20 millisecond response time on the actual actuating speed of the valves. Should I be talking in a nerd voice now?
No. This is incredible.
Keep going. Do you need a wagon? Do you know what you...
So that doesn't sound like a lot, but it really
it's huge.
Is when you're thinking in the scale of what an engine's doing. So we're not running CO2 this year because the complexity that adds to the system doesn't justify the gains that we actually saw from a practical standpoint. So this year, everybody that runs anti-lag is going to be back to the boost reservoir, or the boost balls, as everyone calls them.
Yeah.
What was the second part of the question, or the
are you putting
like 6 parts?
Here, I'll read this again. Are you putting injectors in the turbine housing or still retarding ignition for fuel? What type of ignition timing do you feel is the most effective?
Jesus.
So
I'm sorry, CMJ Dev.
No, I'm reading because the thing is I read that and that's how I interpret it in my mind because I don't even know what that means.
These are really good questions.
You sound almost like Zoidberg, dude. That's pretty good. All right, so we don't have an injector in the manifold. We have considered doing that, but the issue that we have with doing that is it's harder to control the temperature of the collector at that point. So it overheats a lot faster when we add fuel directly to the manifold that way. So what we do now is we retard ignition timing to dump fuel out of the engine into the exhaust manifold, and then that mixes with the air and goes through the turbo. As far as ignition timing goes, what's best, that is a lesson that we've learned through 2 years of trial and error. That was very expensive, and I can't give any of that information away.
All right, CMJ, incredible question. John, amazing answer. I had no idea what any of that means, but I'll do some research from here
and
on
we
out.
Followed about half of it. If I didn't already, when we're on Drift Garage this year shooting it, if I didn't already spend like 2 hours with John, like trying to understand how anti-lag works, I actually almost want to say I know what he's talking about.
Kind of.
Almost. All right, hold on. We have probably the most important question we could ask John is from Chris JDSS.
Uh-oh.
Have you thought of a name yet?
Oh, really getting to the core of the issue.
Yeah.
Heavy questions right here.
So where's the origin?
Man, we have focus groups on this right now. We've been looking into this for 6 years. All right. Nothing's come up yet that's actually stuck, but we'll let you know as soon as our attorney has approved something that works.
It sounds like this answer is one you've given previously.
That's actually the first time we've used that one.
Oh, okay.
Seems to work pretty good.
Sure. What is? How did the name Nameless come about?
That's an interesting story. So we were sitting in McMinimans getting a beer, having our initial, what the hell are we starting this business for? How are we going to do it? And what's it going to be called? And after an hour and a half of trying to figure out some combination of our names and performance and whiz-bang fast, we build cool stuff, combinations of words, none of it seemed to really resonate. Like, none of it sounded right.
Yeah.
And the reason we were starting the business was because we were tired of seeing an influx of no-name Chinese garbage parts coming into our industry and muddying the waters of like copying everybody that was actually doing good things and basically ruining our entire industry.
Right.
So we decided that it would be funny if we made our name kind of a poke in the eye at those no-name companies. Like, we're going to be nameless. We are nameless. You guys have no name because you copy other people's shit, but we are nameless.
Wow. That hit
So
me
that's
right in the
kinda how
heart.
that came
So
about.
deep.
Hey, what year did Nameless start?
2010.
Have you ever thought of naming it Boner Jam 2010?
Oh.
That was the first option, actually.
Yeah, that would have been a good one. I would gladly rock some T-shirts that says Boner Jams 2010.
2K10.
2K10, yeah.
Yeah, our attorneys felt that would offend the female demographic, so we couldn't really go with it.
Sure.
Plus, there was a copyright infringement with that Space Jam movie.
You're right.
Apparently, they have
The sequel is in
the
works.
naming rights to anything with jam in it.
Yeah, and the sequel to
Instead of
Space
Michael
Jam.
Jordan, you have Magic Johnson as your mascot.
Exactly.
Oh!
Hey, all right, Paco, next question. We got a few left, John.
First-time listener, first-time
All right.
commenter, Iron Dookie.
Iron.
Aaron Dookie.
What's up with all the dookie?
Dude, I don't know. I think a poop joke might be a thing on the podcast now. But everybody just changing
It's
their
like we're
name.
back in kindergarten.
Yep.
If you can't tell where the direction of the show's
welcome to
going.
Maximum Driftcast.
Aaron Dookie says, what was the thought process when you teamed up with the driver who's notorious for breaking shit?
Haha.
Which one, Ryan or Chris?
Yes.
That's
I would
Ryan,
say probably
definitely.
more so than
More
Ryan.
so Ryan. I mean, there is the term turking.
There's an
There is an adjective and a verb
to his
and an
with his
adverb
last
now,
name.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, no one really says you Forsberg something. If that's if you do that, I guess you just beat it 3 times and then.
You just win. Yeah, you win it 3 times.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how that. And that's kind of a good thing, I guess. But
Yeah.
no, it's that we actually didn't really think about that when we signed up with him. But it's actually turned out to be a pretty good thing because someone that's really good at breaking stuff is also really good at testing stuff
Yeah.
and revealing weaknesses.
Touché.
So, yeah, every time he breaks something, we're like, hey, that wasn't good enough. Let's make it better. And it's actually been a good thing. It's been awkward at times, like that time when the diff fell out in Atlanta.
Sure.
But overall, it's been really good. And it's we've rose to the occasion, and he's managed to not break everything that we've fixed because he broke it.
And
So-
to be clear, the diff did not fall out in Atlanta. It viciously exploded as he was coming back up the hill out the ass of the car.
It definitely viciously exploded. So what happened is he broke the rear mounting ears off of the differential. So, like, just tore off the mounts off the diff, which tore the mounts off the subframe, which then broke the axles and the drive shaft, and the differential basically started spinning inside the back of the car, spitting all of its oil out, which was where that big fireball came from.
Pretty much he turked it.
See, I'm already used to seeing fire coming out of the back of the car, but when I was shooting that shot, I was like, this is not normal fire. Like, this is
That's a lot of fire,
something
guys.
else has occurred. Well,
Corey?
Yeah. Ironically enough, that actual differential unit is still in service in the car. It actually didn't get broken; it just broke the mounting ears off of it. So The actual mechanical bits were fully functional. It was just the mounting of it that wasn't great, and that was a factory piece that failed. Since then, we've built some crazy steel contraption that's 1/4 inch thick and actually literally bulletproof.
That was a diff cover, wasn't it?
Didn't break. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think we'll come up to the last question. It's actually more of a statement than a question.
It's more of a circle jerk.
But you may have some fans out there, John. This has come from Roman GT86. He says, just want to throw it out there that I think John and his team at Nameless are top-notch and love their products, and had a chance to speak with him about the FRS setup, and he's a really awesome, down-to-earth dude who will take the time to give you knowledge on so many things. Keep up the good work. Looking forward to see what 2017 season brings.
Thanks for being a nice guy, Roman.
Yep. There you go.
Thank you, Roman. That feels really good. I'm crying inside now. Thank you.
Sorry for making you cry.
And then Clown Baby.
But yeah, for real. Like anybody that wants to come and chat at a race,
Yeah.
don't be afraid to walk up and see us. As long as we're not
Rebuilding the
thrashing
motor,
on
yeah.
something. Yeah, as long as we're not thrashing, we'll take the time and chat with you and just shoot the shit. And when it comes down to it, we're just car dudes. Like, I love cars. I love working on cars. I love race cars. I like everything related to automotive anything. So
you're a pretty intimidating
I'll
dude,
chat
though.
for hours.
Yeah, when I walked by Turk's Pick, I was like, who's that 6'6", 290-pound musclehead?
He's just full of
I
muscles.
am not. And he had his shirt off and he had tribal tattoos up his neck.
He's got a
And I
swastika
said-
on his forehead.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, I'm not talking. Or
Yeah.
ask him questions. He's just a beast.
Yeah.
But it's fine. We're gonna post your phone number and your address on the comments.
John
so-
sounds like such a nice guy. Like, just hearing his voice here, you wouldn't picture that
Yeah.
that's what his physical
Dude,
appearance
tribal
is like.
tattoos everywhere.
Yeah, and the swastika on his head is really like you would think that would hurt your company and your branding, but no, John kills it.
He's a giant bear on the inside.
Yeah, he's a real soft man.
I'm just a sweetie inside, guys.
was gonna
Don't
say-
let the image fool you.
I was gonna wrap it up unless you had another real
No,
question. I
I'm
was gonna say,
wrapped up.
Clown Baby says non-anti-lag question.
Wow.
He's just being meta.
All right.
He's
Clown Baby.
Clown Baby.
2017.
2017. Blah, 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 blah. All right. Do you have any questions for us, John?
Any anti-like questions?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me get my nerd hat on.
Yeah.
Nope.
Cool.
How do you guys have this podcast that everybody seems to love, but you guys have hard times stringing sentences
It's
together?
only been a year.
What are you talking about, man?
Well, first of all, you got to understand the clientele we talk to. We get very nervous very easily.
Yeah. Plus, you're so big and violent.
Yeah, so when we get some F lists on here, it's kind of hard to communicate. I'm just kidding. I'm just
Sick.
No,
kidding.
you guys are great. You guys do good things. How long are you guys going to do this podcast thing for?
Probably next week.
Forever.
Yeah, this might be. We might, depending on how this one goes, we might be done for the rest of the year.
We're gonna go forever and ever. I mean, how long are you gonna be building race cars for, John? Jesus.
It's a good question. Forever and ever.
There you go.
Real note, John.
We'll go riding into the sunset together.
Real note. I would love to do something with you, John, one day. Seriously.
Seriously, build him a car, please. He needs
I
help.
have one. I just don't know what to do with it, but
It needs someone
I
to
would love to do
put
something.
a
with
bunch of
it.
time and
Whatever
work.
it takes for
I've
Corey's car
heard
to fire up.
rumors. I've heard rumors through the grapevine, Corey, that you actually know how to drive. So
Hey,
you never know. I mean, the option's never off the table.
I will drive out
It's
there.
never off the table for anybody. It just needs to figure out numbers and see if everybody can make something happen. That's the name of the game in every business. So
Yep,
the name of the game.
Yeah,
come on down. Just bring $100,000, and John will do whatever you ask.
Deal.
Deal.
I'll look at it for $100,000.
That's right. John's a high roller now.
Corey's been making it rain the whole episode.
Well, let's see how corporate we can turn this show, and if we can make a buck, then we'll come down there. But
Yeah, we'll see.
we'll sell out.
All right,
We'll sell out for it.
sponsored by Brondo, right?
Yeah, there you go, Brondo. That's what plants crave. You enjoy the rest of your night in, I forget, are you Oregon or Washington?
Washington.
John sent me a video the other day.
Oregon's the dirty south that we never go to.
John sent me a video of him unable to get into his driveway because it was iced over or something.
nice.
Yeah.
So enjoy
Yeah,
enjoy that
was
life.
great.
Enjoy that life.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and struggle bus all the way home and try to get into my driveway again. Hopefully, I don't run into my other car.
Nice. Well, thanks for taking the time,
Yep.
dude. We will talk to you soon, and good luck developing the Forsberg and more and Turk platforms.
Yep, and tell the team at
Right on.
Nameless we said hello, and we look forward to seeing you guys.
Will do. Thanks for the time, guys. I appreciate it, and we'll see you at Long Beach.
Later, homie.
See you there.
See you, boss.
All right, later, guys.
I wanna talk some serious shit on this dude, but at the same time, like with his stature and his muscles and his swastika tattoo on his forehead, I'm just gonna like let this sit.
Let this one slide.
Look, this John guy, he is a real okay fellow. Let's just say that.
A real okay guy.
And don't get on his bad side at FD. I've seen him. He's actually been banned because he hit a guy over the head with a tire iron.
Yeah.
He's banned from NHRA. And
I watched him.
Did he do 4 years in Lompoc?
He did.
I watched him do Pinks All Out, and he whacked some dude in the head with some nunchucks and blacked his eye.
Yep, blacked his eye right up.
That was a funny show.
That was a funny show.
Have you seen that Pinks All Out where the dude crashes on the motorcycle?
Yeah.
No,
That's actually John.
I've only seen like 1 or 2 episodes when I was on the road, but it seems pretty fucking ridiculous.
That's John. John was the flag man at Pinks All Out, the dude who drops his arms.
Hell yeah.
Yep, but he's grown much more since then.
Do you guys have any other remarks before we shut her down?
It's glad to be back.
Yep. We
Um,
got a bunch of closing stuff to say, but
We have a lot of stuff.
drifting card related. Are we done with that?
Drift car related. We're all done with drifting. It's a stupid sport.
No. It's
Oh shit.
not.
Oh, our drift. Okay.
No, I just mean in general.
Yeah.
Before we just shut her down.
Done with like professional drifting.
Oh, god damn it. No, I just mean before we say, hey, share the episode. Hey, go to our Patreon. Do you have anything of substance?
nope. I'm just gonna skip all
I
that.
definitely don't.
Yeah.
Let's just skip all that.
Let's wait for the
Fan appreciation.
fan appreciation episode.
Yeah.
Which is also gonna be our 1 year anniversary.
Yeah, it's gonna be next week. Sorry, my brain's all fried from all that nerd talk.
know.
Whenever I hear nerd like that talk for so long, I'm just thinking about punching his lights out. You know,
Oh, for sure. Or give him a swirly.
stuff him in a locker and say, "Hey,
So, like,
hey, you nerd, quit
Stop
it,
talking about that stuff, nerd.
quit
head.
talking, nerd."
Give him a what do you call the tidy one? No, the
A wedgie pocket.
a
What
wedge
do you want to call it?
but
Toddy
like
Whitey pole?
No, but the wedge like the
A wedgie.
yeah, but
A
the
swirly,
no, the one where they put the underwear over your head.
A sphincter tightener?
No, it has a name.
the dirty Rodrigo.
It's like an atomic wedgie.
Oh,
Okay.
well,
It's atomic wedgie.
I think I used to eat those as a kid.
so did I. It's a good hoagie down the street.
Yep.
Atomic wedgies.
All right, so next week we got our fan appreciation episode. We're going to post some stuff about how to get a hold of us for that. We're thinking that you maybe just email us your phone number.
PM
Yeah.
private message over Instagram would work pretty good.
Yeah, well, let's just make it official then. If you want us to call you sometime Sunday, I'd say approximately around 3, 4, 5-ish.
Yep.
We'll let you guys know for sure. And the idea is just PM us your number, and we're going to call you for like 1 to 2 minutes. We might hang up immediately if you're doing something really stupid.
Or we might tell fart jokes.
Or we'll keep you on for
Give us your
minutes.
best dad jokes.
But yeah, seriously, if you want to be on the show, PM Maximum Driftcast on Instagram or Facebook, I guess, your phone number, and we'll call you up. And Patreon will be started by the time this episode is out, hopefully. Support us there or don't.
All the links are gonna be on the comment, not the comment, the what they call it, the doobly-doo.
Description.
We'll put it on
section.
Facebook. You won't have a hard time finding it. And then of course our big dog news is we have now partnered up with AEM to give you guys some cool free shit. So share the app on Facebook, share it on I guess I could share it on Instagram.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just tag us either way, and we'll draw at the end of the month, and you'll receive at least this month a signed filter by us, and in the future you'll receive signed filter by people that are much more
It
important.
actually matters.
People that Paco, you matter. Paco lives matter. Yeah. Anything else?
Political.
That's it, guys.
Yep. Find us Maximum Driftcast. I'm Drift Idiot.
I'm Corey Hosford.
Street Standard. Hot Dogs Are Legs.
2F Performance and Tofu Drift Band.
I've heard of that. All right, guys.
See you
Farewell.
See you
Time to send you into the abyss.
Goodbye.